Hello, it's Sinead here from Generation Women, and I thought I would do a video this afternoon because I've just had my hair done. I thought what better time to do a video for you. And I'm talking about imposter syndrome, and there's a couple of reasons I've chosen to talk about this today. One is that I'm doing a 2-hour workshop about it on Saturday in Dublin for Women in Research, and also because it's come up as a topic for my own lean-in circle, the senior executive circle, and it's something that gets talked about but is probably not really understood what it is. So imposter syndrome is a very grand term. I usually tell people that if it's got a name, then you can feel rest assured that plenty of people have it. But syndrome is a bit of an over-exaggeration. It's not an illness or a dysfunction. It's a collection of feelings and that lead to a change in behaviours. So it's a pattern that makes you feel inadequate and will persist even if you've got evidence that that's not the case. So when people talk about feeling imposter syndrome, usually it's about feeling like a fraud. So if you've ever thought, oh, I don't belong here, I don't live up to the rest of the people, or you've maybe attributed your success to some kind of luck, happenstance, circumstance, oh, it was just the right place at the right time. I've heard many of my friends actually that are really successful say, oh, I wouldn't get into this company now if I had to go through the recruitment process. This is with like 20 years of amazing experience and so much to offer and so much success and achievement, and yet they're like, yeah, I couldn't do this now. I couldn't get in. The company wouldn't look at me. And so it's that kind of talk. And if you're experiencing that kind of self-doubt, then it's reasonably likely you have imposter syndrome. And it's maybe not just that. Maybe it is a lack of confidence, whatever it is. The tips I'm going to share with you this afternoon will help you, whether it's imposter syndrome, whether you're just feeling a bit low on confidence, whether circumstances have led you to feel a bit low with things. So I've been doing some research into some of the causes and where it comes from. And self-doubt is one of the big causes of imposter syndrome, being criticised, and actually doing a lot of work in bias. Even though men and women suffer from this, and there's a slight higher degree of women, but it's not massive. But actually looking at the bias that's at play and how women are judged much more harshly. So we're more likely to, our good work is more likely to be attributed to a man. We're more likely to receive lower performance reviews. We're, if you work with, actually women have a bias against other women, an unconscious bias that we judge each other at a much higher level and are much higher. So I think there could be reasons of bias that I would love to see some studies on as to why imposter syndrome maybe impacts us more strongly. But other reasons are comparing yourself, not being able to ask for help, not clearly understanding what's expected of you, that kind of thing. So what can you do about it? I mean, hopefully any of you that have been watching my videos regularly know that I like to share helpful tips. And a lot of them have come from my own experience, because those of you that know me and have heard me speak before will know that I have experienced imposter syndrome myself, and it actually comes from an expectation of always being really good at things. So I got really high grades at school, and it was expected I would always be top of the class, and therefore whenever I went to do anything that I wasn't particularly good at, I didn't like it. So I tended to avoid that and feel like I'm an imposter. If I pursue that, I can't carry on, and hid from that kind of thing. Thankfully, some of the things I've done have been to find what I'm really good at and really focus on that. So I'm going to give you some of the tips on what you can do about it, and some of them are my own lived experience. The number one thing that I think is good for anybody to focus on is developing a growth mindset. So a growth mindset is where you understand that learning, our development, our ability to improve is not a fixed thing. And I know that might seem obvious, but some of us can take this attitude, and I used to, that if I'm not good at something, I'll never be good at that, there's no point in it, and give up. But a really useful belief to have is that there's no such thing as failure, only feedback. So when we don't do well at something, you can learn something from that. So when you have a challenging meeting or interview or situation, instead of going into the beating myself up mode, which I was a real expert at, a simple thing can be to ask yourself, what have I learned from that? How can I grow? What would I do better next time? And the brain loves an action plan. So when you start to focus on what you can do differently instead of beating yourself with a big stick, that's when you grow, and that's how you develop a growth mindset. And it's really transformational. I mean, I'm not saying I'm any kind of business guru, but I'll tell you, when I started this business, I hadn't a clue what to do, how to get things started, how to market, all of these things. And the first many times you start doing these things, you feel quite badly. And if I had taken that mindset that, I can't do it, this is not for me, I would never have grown. So challenging myself to ask these questions was really powerful in helping me build and grow and really develop something that I'm now very proud of. The second thing you can do is strengthen your internal validation. So quite often people that suffer badly from imposter syndrome have or confidence issues have a real need for external validation. So they really need feedback, they need external evidence that they're on the right track. And of course, all of us need that to some extent. But when we rely really heavily on that, and we don't get the feedback, our whole sense of self can become damaged. So a really simple thing you can do for yourself, and I will harp on about this till the end of time, is to journal every day on what did you do well today. And I know that question challenges people, but sometimes it can really help to ask, well, how did I add value? Or what would not have happened if I wasn't there? So what question did I ask, or what input did I give, or how did I make somebody feel that really changed things? And that's a powerful thing to start to recognise that. And the more you do that, the more you'll strengthen that internal validation. And then the third thing I've already alluded to is to identify some core strengths. And by that, I'm not saying, well, I am saying what you're good at, but what makes you feel strong. So think about the things that you do that you just get lost in completely and that you absolutely love doing. They give you energy, they give you strength, quite literally. And if you build more of that into your day, into your week, into your life, imagine, feeling that strength on a regular basis, then that's going to have a major impact on how you think about yourself. So I've given you 3 key tips there. Focus on learning from a situation rather than beating yourself up. So what did I learn? What can I do differently? Strengthen your internal validation by journaling on what I did well. And identify some key strengths, the things that make you feel strong, that you love doing, that you enjoy doing, and build more of that into your day, your week, your life. So I hope that's been useful for you today, and I hope you like my new hairdo. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye.